It has been 5 years since the first announcement of Silksong. That's a long time to obsess over tiny details. In particular, I've been quite interested in the lore behind these adorable critters. But there seems to be very little information about them at the moment, so instead I looked at the second most interesting thing, the scripts. Now, the scripts of Silksong have interested me for a while now, but I've only now had the inspiration to make this video, mainly because it's hard to research topics about a game that isn't out yet. However, there is some information we can get just from the trailers. Silksong seems to share some similar scripts with Hollow Knight. This can be seen in these screenshots. Although some symbols are new, like this bell for instance, most of them are quite similar to those of Hollow Knight. There are, however, 3 screenshots that show off some quite different scripts. This one from the Nintendo Treehouse gameplay footage displays a very different script to Hollow Knight's. If we look into the Edge magazine article, we can find this screenshot. This screenshot taken in a town seems to show writing on a shop sign and prominently features music symbols and pins as well as needles. And this one from a now deleted Xbox video features symbols similar to Hollow Knight's as well as some music symbols. There are, however, no pins or needles on this sign. It seems we can categorize the symbols in these 2 screenshots into 3 distinct groups: traditional logograms, pins and needles, and music symbols. Additionally, there are those that don't quite fit into these categories, and the question arises, why does this divide exist? In a video discussing the Edge magazine article, Mossbag discusses his theory on the shop sign.
In this screenshot, we do get a glimpse of Pharloom's written language. This sign appears to be littered both with musical notes and gilded pins. Now it's possible that this is just how the language of Pharloom is written, indicating how important music is here. We can also see what appears to be some musical notes on the lore tablets and deep docks. But other glimpses we've seen of Pharloom's language look pretty similar to Hollow Knight's random scribbles. There are some tablets in Hollow Knight that appear to make sense, such as the Stag Station signs. If you stare at this long enough, you can kinda see what it's saying. So this sign might just be specific to this building. Or in other words, this building is a shop that sells musical instruments and pins.
This doesn't make sense for several reasons. Firstly, Mossbag assumes that Pharloom would only have one language and therefore only one script, and taking that as fact. This is not necessarily the case, and language and script diversity is a real thing. The idea that this is just some symbols and that the shop sells needles and musical instruments doesn't really make sense. Imagine going to your local supermarket and seeing this sign. Secondly, comparing the script to Hollow Knight's might not be a good comparison. Hollow Knight's writing system seems to consist mostly of logograms, that is, each symbol means something on its own. For example, a stag head may refer to a stag, or a stag station. However, this doesn't really make sense here, seeing as the symbols are quite repetitive. Imagine the same shop sign in plain English. Instead, it makes more sense for these to be abstract phonetic symbols, such as letters or syllables. It makes more sense for this script to be an abjad like Arabic, or an alphabet like Latin or Cyrillic, or even a syllabary or abugida. The symbols quite cleanly divide into 3 groups. There could be multiple languages in Pharloom, all with their own scripts. This could indicate multilingual signage, and this town may be a cultural mixing pot of some kind. According to my sociolinguistics professor, this means that we could analyze the cultural significance of the service provided by this shop by looking at the relative size and visual weight that each language is given. For example, in this sign for a gay strip club in Bangkok, English is displayed much larger than the Thai. Can you see it? Let me zoom in a bit more. Also, according to my sociolinguistics professor, this could mean that this shop could be a gay strip club of some kind. Could this be the perfect setting for my Zote x Elderbug fanfic? Unfortunately, this doesn't seem too plausible, as elements of the 2 scripts seem to interlace in some ways, and it doesn't really make sense for the text on the side to be broken up by the center text. Damn it. I knew it was too good to be true. This third theory seems the most plausible to me. While there are logograms in the text in this screenshot, it doesn't really make sense that the whole script is logographic. See, Hollow Knight's script seems to adhere to non-repetitive, highly logographic symbols. This is similar to Chinese Hanzi, where almost every word is represented with one symbol. However, I believe Pharloom's writing is more similar to the Japanese writing system, which uses kanji, hiragana, and katakana. These come together to create a complex mixture of different modes and styles that could assist in word identification and breaking up strings of characters. This makes sense if we look at the distribution of characters. Similar to Japanese, the logograms seem to be mostly in places you would expect nouns or proper nouns, such as the titles of quests, and on waypoint signs. The other symbols could be used for a variety of different purposes. For example, they could be used to write non-native words the way that Japanese katakana is used, as well as writing more complex words phonemically, the way Japanese hiragana is used. I feel there's more that could be added to this theory, but first, we'll have to discuss the history of the Japanese writing system. The Japanese scripts weren't always used in the same ways as they are today. An early form of what is now called hiragana was once not accepted by the upper classes. Instead, they preferred to use kanji instead. This form of writing was mainly only used by women, thus being known as onnade, where men only used otokode. Additionally, for a long time, official documents were only written in katakana. Pharloom could also have such a complex mixture of scripts used for different purposes coming together to make a complex and diverse writing system. This would also explain why the shop shows the pin script, whereas the waypoint does not. This may also explain the lack of logograms in these signs. It seems to indicate that the signs of Pharloom are as complex and interesting as those of Halonest, if not more. These signs are definitely worth studying as they may point to unexplored connections and secrets. I'm very excited for what the lore community can come up with. Thanks for watching.